So welcome everyone. We are very excited to host the directorate today. And my name is Allan Dobresh. I am the Business Development Manager at the Estonia Briefing Center. And I have here with me my colleague Anett Numa, also from the Estonia Briefing Center, and she will be leading the first part from our side. And after that, we have a few expert speakers from the government and also from the private sector. And they will be talking about our government services, our e-residency program, and our e-government initiatives. And you can always ask questions from the speakers. You can write the questions into the chat, and after each presentation, we will also take the questions so that hopefully we can answer all the interest that you have. I would not spend any more time on this, but I would give now the word to the mayor. We are very honored to have you here with us as well. So thank you for joining us, and please, if you would like to say a few words.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, Excellencies and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to the GDRFA Dubai Best Practices of the Digital and Proactive Services Forum in collaboration with the Republic of Estonia. We are very grateful to Estonia Briefing Center for their tremendous support they have provided us as a host, and to the participating organizations from the Republic of Estonia. We are fortunate to have the support of great speakers from Republic of Estonia government and digital organizations, namely Ms. Anett Numa, Digital Transformation Advisor from Estonia Briefing Center, and Ms. Trin Alper, Live Events Services Project Manager from Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communications, Ms. Catherine Vaga, Head of Public Relations from e-Residency, Mr. Arthur Asur, Partner and Head of Products and Services from Nortel Digital Company, Mr. Leonardo Ortega, Community Specialist from International House of Estonia. At this stage, I would like to introduce Major Salim bin Ali, Director of Amer Happiness Customers Department at GDRFA Dubai. Please, we would like to welcome you, Major Salim bin Ali, to have the welcome speech.
Thank you, Ilham, and thank you, Alan. It's good morning, everyone, I think in both countries. Good morning in UAE and good morning in Estonia. Guests of honor, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to express our pleasure and honor to welcome you all to the virtual forum of the best practices of the digital and proactive services in cooperation, of course, with the Republic of Estonia. The forum comes within the GDRFA Dubai endeavor to consolidating and a relationship with other parties, and comes in terms of exchanging expertise and adopting best practices in Estonia, which will Ilham, you can mute someone. Yeah, sorry about that. Will help us to understand their work system and how does this transformation in technology lead to provide the best quality of services. Thank you for joining us. Estonia efforts and successfully move all its services to a single smart platform within the framework of the Digital Estonia, which is considered today as a successful model to be followed globally. Estonia, a small European country with a population of less than 1.5, if I'm wrong, you can just correct that, please, leads Europe and the world in the field of digital transformation and smart government services, and is a global center for technology sectors and companies. Estonia is the first country in the world to organize an online vote in the national election, which takes no more than 3 minutes and enables its citizens to vote from anywhere in the world. And more practices and experience that we will be presented about today during this, the forum. Our guest, From this platform, I would like to take an opportunity to highlight some of UAE's experience in digital services. The traditional customer service journey no longer exists. UAE government has recognized very early the importance of transformation and harnessing the technology for people to meet their requirements and enhance their quality of life, which has become the #1 priority for the government. The country moved from leadership in service to foreseeing the future and contributing to its industry, and from striving to achieve customer satisfaction to achieving well-being and happiness for citizens and residents, of course. Today, UAE is considered one of the most unique and powerful countries on the world map. Not only that, it becomes at the top of the countries in global competitiveness indicators. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to give a small overview also for our department and how it has transformed the traditional services into smart services in the last few years. The General Directorate of Residency and Foreign Affairs in Dubai has endorsed to be part of the comprehensive process of changing that the UAE government seeks to achieve by developing the government work system with a forward-looking vision, enhancing its readiness by studying different lifestyles, and made every effort to identify the most important challenges and searching for opportunities and solutions to ensure the provision of comprehensive and innovative services in a manner benefiting its customer and enhance their quality of life and happiness, which still is at the forefront of our priorities. In conclusion, I would like to thank all the participants in this forum. We are keen to see the available opportunities to exchange knowledge and experience related to the digital services and how will it improve the experience of customers around the world, which will be a great addition to our department. Thank you for this opportunity. The floor is yours, Ilham. You are muted, Ilham.
Yeah. Thank you, Major Salim bin Ali. I sincerely hope you will enjoy today, and thank you for participating. For all the attendees, please keep in mind to leave your questions till the end of the session. If you have any questions, please write it down, and at the end of the session, we will be more than happy to reply to your questions. Alan, the floor is yours now to start with the sessions for today.
Thank you, Ilham. Thank you, Major, for the introduction. And I would now give the word to my colleague, Anet Numa from the Estonia Briefing Center.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you for the first overview also from your side there. So good morning to everyone from my side here, and of course the warmest greetings all the way from Tallinn, Estonia to you here. I'm extremely happy to start this morning together with you. I was actually in Dubai just a couple of weeks ago, and I can really say that what I learned from my trip there was that I understood how important it is to serve the best customer experience for you there, for your citizens. So I was extremely happy when you reached out to us and especially asked about like proactive governmental services and how to serve again the highest quality of services for all of your citizens. So when I was preparing for this call today, I was thinking that I would like to make an overview for you how Estonia has developed all these services by always keeping in mind that the customer and our citizens come first. And now Estonia, of course, also have been attracting people from abroad to start their business here, to start and move all the way to Estonia, because all the services that we can use here are also, of course, possible for people who are not Estonians and who have just moved here. So I would spend around 20 minutes about the overview of our systems, and then we were going to have people from the ministries and companies who are actually behind of these solutions and the entire development process as well. So I'm going to go ahead now and of course also share my screen with you. Okay, there we go. So just very briefly about myself as well here. So as Alan said already, my name is Annette and I'm working at the Estonia Briefing Center as one of the digital transformation advisors, where especially my job is to consult the other government agencies how they could do similar things as Estonia has been doing here. And we're always extremely happy to see that the interest is raising in time, and many countries are thinking on a same value base as well as we do here. But not to waste any more time here, so I would just quickly would like to make an overview here where Estonia stands today with our services. So we started this entire digitalization process already more than 27 years ago. So in 1994, when the first document was already drafted to the parliament. So it has been a very, I would say, successful process of implementing different services, which of course started with covering the entire nation here with a good internet connection, and of course also providing enough knowledge and just awareness how to use the services since day number one already. And when there is one thing that I always like our delegations to know and remember is definitely that it is very important to invest into education, so to raise your customers' experience and knowledge how to use the services and what's the actual behind like the background there. So definitely I would suggest very much if you want more and more citizens to be using online services to provide them a proper education also how things work in backgrounds. But after many years of very hard work of implementing different services, today Estonia is in a point where 99% of the state services are fully accessible already online, so that we can do pretty much everything online except just getting married and divorced, which I do hope that don't happen too often in your life. And of course, it has nothing to do with technology here, but actually is more very traditional things, and I guess also for all of you. So definitely we will still stick partly on paper with these services, but also during the time of the crisis, so in the year 2020, we already had also a third thing that was still working on paper basis, which was transactions for notary transactions such as buying a house or apartment, which we very quickly changed because again of the impact of the economic system when the pandemic hit here. So today also even foreign people can buy a property if they're e-residency card holders or something from the distance by doing the e-notary transaction. So again, to make it even more simple for them if they can't be physically in Estonia at the moment here. But of course, all of this have been only possible because since 2002, Estonia already introduced the electronic ID card. And I'm extremely happy that UAE is also working on a UAE pass, which is, again, a great solution to everyone to get connected and to use online services. And there has to be one single solution. And I'm so happy for you that you are currently also introducing this solution on the highest level. So it is a compulsory card here in Estonia, and everyone who even moved to Estonia and stay here longer than 2 or 3 months will also get access to this card so that they can use the same services that we provide to our citizens by having this ID card. So today the number is 90% here, so 90% of our citizens already have the card so that they can all use our online services by having the physical ID card, or also a couple of other solutions that I'm briefly covering. And then of course, when we talk about that everything is functioning absolutely fully online, we have to make sure that it is safe for our users to use the services, and the security has been provided and the integrity of data has been provided. And that's why also Estonia is the first nation in the world who uses also blockchain on a national level, so to make sure that the integrity of data is placed there. And of course, so with our ID card, we also can sign all of our documents online, which is a very great solution because it has helped our citizens to save around 5 days per year by providing online signatures so that they don't have to go anywhere physically and sign their documents. Not to even talk about like how much paper do we save. And I know that also for Dubai, the goal is to become completely paperless so that you don't have anything on paper anymore. Again, that we could get rid of that aspect as well there. And by the government aspect, so of course, every euro and every cost is important to us, and we have to think through every single thing that we invest in. Luckily, with using digital signature, Estonian government is able to save around 2% of GDP every single year, which is really incredible, because that's also the money that we spend on our defense and security sector. So we can just save that money from just providing online signatures to people. And just to show you how much trust our citizens have towards the online services. So last time when we had elections, which happened 2 years ago, then 46% of our people already participated also by using the iVoting application, which again, if you're willing to vote online, that shows how much you actually trust all these services. But to move over here, so once again, before you can start offering any kind of services to your citizens, it's extremely important to think through the entire combination of information security and the infrastructure. So we have provided to our citizens confidentiality, availability, and integrity aspects here. So confidentiality, of course, the ID card, as I said, they can identify themselves very securely by using one of these 4 solutions: ID card, mobile ID, smart ID solution, and also e-residency, which you're going to hear a lot more today, which is especially meant for people who come from abroad and who just want to run their business but not to live here in Estonia. They, of course, can live here in Estonia too, but they don't have to. So it's a chance to get, again, access to your services by doing this very, very securely. And then, of course, availability aspect. So to be able to exchange information between different governmental agencies and, of course, also private sector institutions. We want the information to be exchanged fast, secure, and efficient. And that's why we're using a system called DXRoad, which is a decentralized data exchange layer that helps us to have this very efficient data exchange between different platforms. And then, of course, integrity, which I already covered partly. So first of all, the KSI blockchain that we use. And then, of course, also, we don't only have armed forces here in Estonia protecting us, but as most of the wars these days are happening online, not on grounds anymore. So we do also have cyber forces, which are called cyber command. So people that are fully exercised in order to make sure that our cyberspace is, of course, also very, very, very secure. And Estonia also has such wonderful thing called data embassy. So if you're thinking about like, okay, a country that has absolutely everything functioning online, what will happen if there would be a huge, I don't know, someone would just come and burn down our servers. There would be a fire here or a huge data leak or something. Luckily, we have been thinking through all these processes as well, because Estonia has a backup plan, and our backup plan is called Data Embassy. So we have backed up our information to our Data Embassy, which is based in Luxembourg. And whenever we would need, we could get, of course, also our information back from the Luxembourg server. So where we have the most important data sets based there. Just very briefly, again, don't want to spend too much time on these, which I already partly covered, but again, our electronic identity card gives us access to everything. So we can, again, sign documents, access banking sector services. This is also a loyalty card in different shops. We travel with our identity card, that's our driving license. We get access to all of our medicals with this. So again, if you want to serve the best customer experience, then it is simple to do that if your customers and citizens only have one single document that they can use, so that they don't have to carry tons of different documents in their wallet and remember different cards. But one single card would give them access to all kind of different services. So this is what we were thinking to you already since very early days. And now, very briefly, I'm not going to go into details because we have my colleague from the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communication joining. But of course, we do have some great plans also for the future. So to make sure that our services are fully functioning 24/7. So we're currently working on providing proactive governmental services so that our citizens wouldn't even have to ask for the services by themselves firsthand, but actually we would be offering services that and benefits that they might not be even aware of already again beforehand, before they can even think about, because I'm pretty sure also you in Dubai have tons of things in your head all the time going on that you have to remember with your family things and then work-wise. So that's why we want our citizens to be focusing on things that matter for them. And we would be, by using technology, one step ahead of them by offering services and benefits to all of them. You're going to hear a couple of examples from there. How do we provide family benefits, retirement money, pensions, and tons of different things as well already to our people. And then, of course, AI in the governmental services is very essential, because that again helps us to get rid of these very manual tasks and focus again much more important issues than just writing papers and so on, because technology is able to help us to get things done much faster. And then, of course, we will continue to do a very strong collaboration with other countries on a cross-border level. We do already exchange medical data with a couple of countries when it comes to e-prescription, so that I can already get access to my medicals by using Estonian ID cards in different other countries too. So again, to make sure that our citizens also, if they even travel abroad, they would have the same level of services. And that's why, once again, I was very grateful when you reached out to us, because if other countries would like to provide the same level of services to our people, then we are doing something good also for our citizens. Because if they travel or move to Dubai or any other country, then of course they can enjoy the same level of services also in other places. So that's great to see. But just very briefly, of course, also about the cyber aspect here, because again, when we offer online services, we have to make sure that the safety has been provided. And it is very sad to see that in the year 2021, there is still not a clear understanding what would happen when one country attacks the other one, or there is any kind of like cyber attacks happening either on a national level or private sector level. So that's why Estonia is taking it very serious right now to start to establish rules of behavior in cyberspace, and not only internally here, but especially by the global approach. We are a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. Right at the moment, in June, we are also running our presidency. So we would like globally, to create a framework that would be globally agreed and I would say approved, which would include a lot of actions and sanctions that would follow when one country, or again group of people, would attack the other one. So we would have it clear if there are any travel bans, sanctions, or anything like also figured out that way. And today, when we talk about the cyber aspect, then Estonia is already home for the NATO CCDC OE Center, which is the cybersecurity headquarters of NATO. So they are based here in Tallinn, Estonia, and the European Union aid agency as well. The main goal there, of course, is to again shape the global approach and organize different cyber exercises on a global level, different hackathons and so on, so that everyone would be aware what are the threats in cyberspace and how can we make sure that countries would know how to protect themselves. So this is something that really, really matters to us. But now, as a last slide, I also just wanted to bring it out a couple of lessons that we have learned during the time of implementation of all these services. So first of all, you need to pay a lot of attention on cybersecurity, because whatever services you provide, if you do that on a highest level, you have to make sure that the security has been provided, because as soon as your citizens or customers are experiencing like a threat in the system, a leak of their data, they will never go back of using the online services. So that's why, since day number one, it was very important to us to make sure that the safety has been provided. And then, of course, security start from the lowest level. So never get tired of investing into raising awareness of every single citizen about the threats and how they could be smarter of using online services. And in order to raise this awareness, we very much recommend you organize different campaigns and talk to people on levels that they use the media, for example, the most often, if you want to address your elderly generation, then 2 campaigns on TVs. If you want to address your younger generation, 2 campaigns on Facebook or TikTok or any other like kind of platforms. And when I was driving in Dubai, I saw especially many advertisements also, even on the roads, where they were reminding you like when it was last time that you updated your password, for example, and so on. And I really like that, and that you already addressed these issues as well. And one thing how you can attract people to use your services is, of course, to make sure that they have the entire overview of how things work and know the background and again, transparency of the system. So we have been always talking very openly, how do we store information and how this process has been developed since very early days already. But of course, all of this that we have been doing in our online services and just digitalization have been only able to happen thanks to the private sector who we have been working together with since very, again, early days already of our independence. Because again, if one country wants to make magic happen, then I always ask delegations, governments to think about a magic triangle, whereas academia, private sector and public sector, because usually the innovation happens in academia, in different universities, then the latest innovation is being put into use in private sector get experience, and then this experience should be used by a public sector. And of course, if we can like share these kind of lessons and experiences with other countries, then I believe that we can really make magic happen all around the world, where people can enjoy a very nice online services by not having to worry about things by themselves and really enjoy the communication with their state as well. So this is the goal of Estonia today, and will remain like this, I guess, the rest of the days. And we work very hard in order to make sure that every time that our citizens have to be in touch with the state, it is the best experience for them to enjoy, and they will come back to us in a way. So that was just 20 minutes overview what Estonia has been up to, what are the plans for the future. But luckily, we're going to hear now many other presentations from my colleagues who are going to go in more in details. What are the exact services that we're starting to provide by proactive government services, and of course also e-residency solution, how to attract people from different other countries. So that was it from my side, and I would like to wish you a very nice rest of Monday, and I do hope that you're going to enjoy all the other presentations as well here. So thank you, and over back to you, my colleague Alan.
Thank you, Annette. I think we can take a few questions before the next presentation. Maybe the major has a question.
Yes, I have a question. So thank you very much for the great presentation. I need to know more about how you listen to your people. I mean, I can call them to the Estonian people. How you are taking those suggestions, or if you have any platform, or how often you are doing it? It's yearly or it's daily that you are receiving those notes from the customer, or I can say from the locals or from the citizens. So how you are hearing or listening to your client, I can call them.
I think it's very important to listen to your customers and your citizens and to see how things actually work, because when we design something, we design these to our citizens, not to ourselves here in public sector. Every time that I use my state portal, at the when I log out from the system, then it gives me feedback, I would say a window there. So I can rate my experience by using this online platform, and then also give feedback for the state by saying, I didn't like this part, or maybe you should consider changing the systems. The other way how we communicate these changes to our, how the citizens can communicate their new ideas to us are the hackathons that we very often also organize, so that they can come with their new ideas and say, okay, the last time I was using this solution, I was experiencing something not so unpleasant, and I would change it that way. So it's also a possibility. You can come with your idea, you can get financial support, and you can start developing this solution by yourself. And especially in hackathons, we try to include people from so many different sectors, people who come with a legal background, or developers, people who come different experiences. So that way, but just recently also, I think it happened like a couple of weeks ago that our Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communications also started this kind of huge customers feedback and survey in a way, so that they included people again from many different sectors to go through all the different services and give feedback. And one of the things that what we did at the Estonia Briefing Center was that we also asked our delegation to use our online platform, for example, and we followed the entire time that they were accessing our Estonia platform, and then asked okay, how do you feel about this? And that's why I would also suggest something like this to you. So if you ask the most usual citizen in Dubai to be using your platforms or something, and they would say, I would actually prefer this thing to be done in that way. So to get the very, very accurate feedback from the citizens is extremely important, because if only tech savvy people are designing services, they see things much differently than maybe your grandma. So choosing people from the elderly generation, from the younger generation, from very tech savvy people, from not so tech savvy people, I think it's essential for every state to deliver the best customer experience.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and also I think Artur Assor from Nortal can comment on this, because their company has experience with this.
Yeah. Thank you, Alan, and thanks for the question. I think it's a great question. And just to add to what Annette has already mentioned, so in addition just to use kind of the verbal feedback from the users, what also has been done, like at the example of the state portal, which is the single window for all government services. So what we have recently implemented there is in-depth behavioral analytics solution, which basically looks into how people are behaving on the portal, what's their, the use cases, the business cases, the routes, how they navigate through the portal. And we pinpoint the elements which are not the most efficient for the users, where we can pinpoint that the users are a bit lost, they're not able to find the information that they need, or the path through the system is not optimal. So and this serves as additional feedback that can be looked back into the development cycle, and basically the certain improvements can be done using this information that we just extract from the actual behavior of the users. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I fully agree with Artur as well here. There was another question someone asked it very quickly. I'm just going to answer, and then we can have the next speaker.
Just if you don't mind to interrupt you, I'm going to say it in Arabic, because of if they're going to ask in Arabic, we can't translate that. So sorry, I'll talk in Arabic. اخواني واخواتي بالنسبه اللي عندنا اسئله بالعربي ما في مشكله، يعني حتى لو بتكتبونهم ككتابه الهام او انا بنحول الاسئله هاي، او حتى لو بترمسون نحن بنترجمها، فننتهز الفرصه بسمع لي كمان. Just I was informing that if they have any question, even if it's going to be in Arabic, they can write it down or just mention it, and me or my colleague Ilham will translate that, so they can feel free to ask. Please, sorry to interrupt you again.
No worries, absolutely. So there was a question if you can highlight one of the challenges in implementing such a huge e-platform and how you came over it. I would say the biggest, the challenge in a way, is that things take time, and you might not do things in the right way in the first place. I would say, in my opinion, the biggest lesson we have learned is that you need to use I would say admit your mistakes and to be ready to fail in a way. So because if you implement something, it can never be 100% correct for the first time. So as we didn't have any kind of other countries to follow when we started with our implementation process, so we had to be the forerunners and to do these things by ourselves in first place. So definitely we have learned quite a lot in a process. But again, the biggest challenge is to make sure that your citizens are actually going to use these services. Otherwise, there is no point. And I have seen too many governments that have been designing very fancy services, and people who actually use the online services is remaining below 50%, and they're very much struggling. So again, that's why we need to get the feedback and promote, and communication and promotion is something very essential there. To do a lot of campaigns and to get very close to citizens to say this is how things work, and to be the helping hand there. I guess this is a very big challenge for many countries these days. But all right, not to waste any more time for the next speakers, back to Allan, and he can introduce the next speaker. And of course, if you have any additional questions to me, you can reach out to me over email or LinkedIn profile, where I also very actively can answer to you. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the presentation here.
Thank you, Annette. We will maybe take some questions in the end as well. So if you have questions to the general part, you can leave them in the chat. But now, yes, I would like to introduce Ms. Trine Opper from the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communications. And as Annette mentioned, then 99% of public services are online, but the government wants to make those services even more convenient and even more user-friendly. So please, Trine, could you explain what the government is planning to do?
Yes, absolutely, I can. Thank you, Allan, and thank you, Annette. I will quickly share my screen. I hope you can see it. Hello, everyone. My name is Trine. I am the project manager of live event services in the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communications, and I will give you a very brief overview of what we are doing in the ministry as far as live event and proactive services. So I think it's very important to distinguish the two. Not all live event services are proactive services, and not all proactive services are live event services. What we see a live event service is these services consolidate different public services provided by different institutions or agencies into one service for the user. So regardless of how many agencies are providing that service for the user, it's just one smooth service. Proactive services are these services that are provided automatically for the user with the assumption that the person has given the consent to use the data for offering those services. And how we go about our work is that we see all the possibilities for proactive services, and out of those services we see which can be turned into a live event, because not all live events should be proactive. For example, when we were talking about the event of somebody dying, then this isn't something that you want to get an offer for something, but this is something you want to process on yourself. So going into detail how we have been doing this is that more concrete work started in 2018 when the government approved the initial action plan to kickstart developing these life event services in Estonia. The next year after that, we started mapping out which type of services could be conceptualized into life event services, and what would the technical architecture be, the technical infrastructure, and how would they be governed. And last year we got the results of the analysis. We introduced them to our partners. In the spring, we started making agreements with the so-called product owners, who will be responsible for the upkeep of the service or type of the content of the service. And then in autumn, winter, we started with the actual plan of developing these services and created this type of roadmap. And as you can see, it ends with 2020. So what we've been doing this year is this. We have roadmap with 9 life event services, and then this type of central technology as well, which would allow to provide all these services. Just go quickly over this. As Annette mentioned, we are dealing with getting married, but also getting divorced online, then driver's license and owning a car, being unemployed or becoming unemployed, then having a child and all the data connected to being pregnant, then different real estate transactions, buying a house, selling a house, then, as I mentioned, death of a close one, then this obligatory military service, also preschool, and the central technology for local governments, not only statewide technology. And then finally, retiring is also in our pipeline. So this is the plan for this year for our department, and how we're hopefully planning to make this all go live is by governance model. So we're not doing this in the ministry alone, but we have very distinctive roles how to achieve this ideal picture. The most important role, in my view, is life event service product owner, who is responsible for the life event service planning, management, administration, and development as a whole, because they know the service in itself the most. Then we have life event step product owner, which is a type of the step is a sub-service of this whole service. I will show you a more specific graph in the next slide, but this product owner is responsible for the same things, only in their separate step. So planning this step, managing it, administrating it, and developing it. Then the key role also is information system authority, who is responsible for the upkeep and technology of this state portal, which Annette was also talking about, this ASTA, which in our view is sorry. Okay.
Sorry about that. Just to repeat. Sorry about that.
السلام عليكم للحاضرين. ممكن بس إغلاق المايك لو سمحتم حاضرين.
Okay.
Please, for the audience.
I think they muted everyone, so everyone is being muted by someone, so please unmute the mic.
Estrin, can you continue, please? Unmute yourself and continue.
Yeah, thank you.
Estrin, you're muted.
Well, that's how it goes usually. I think I was stopped when I was talking about the ASTA portal. So this is the single gateway for citizens to get those services we are talking about. And then us as a minister, we are responsible for the nationwide policy and coordination of all these different life event services. So this is the governance model for getting married. As you can see, we have service owner, and in case of getting married is the Ministry of Interior, who is responsible for this submitting the application and registration of marriage. Then we have step owners, which is like the sub-service, police and border guard. So when people get married, and most of them change their surname, then police and border guard are responsible for giving the new identity documents for the people, and transport administration is responsible for the driver's license. But all of this for the citizen can be accessed on this ASDA portal, and they don't have to know who are the different parties of this service, but they just want to get the service. So submit some type of data, click on some buttons, just so it will be one smooth service. How we are doing this is pretty much our core team consists of me, another project manager, and then our program manager, and ministries and agencies as well, because ministries and agencies are the usually the product owners and the sub-service product owners. Then a bit of a wider team is our service designer, then legal team, our technology team, and data team, who we consult whenever we feel the need that they should be onboarded in some steps. And on a broader scale, we are also working with the private sector, NGOs, and international partners, just so we would be up to date with the best practices, and we wouldn't kind of invent the wheel if it's already been invented. Our process is this type of double or in this case triple diamond model. So we start with problem validation. We know that some type of problems exist, but before we start solving them, we want to understand that these are actual real problems, and we have talked with the end users who we are building these services for. Once we have analyzed this problem, then we have the problem definition, and then we start creating this concept. So in cooperation with our partners, because we use procurement a lot, we create this vision. Our partners prototype it, test it with end users, validate it, and then in this concept phase, the end solution is this potential solution that could be launched. And if we have reached the potential solution, then we start, or our partners start creating this action plan. It involves another roadmap for development, technical architecture, how it is compatible with the existing architecture, what should be developed furthermore, and what are the kind of the most important parts that should be launched, because we have big plans, but to have a more feasible solution, we have to start with small steps. So we kind of prioritize those small steps, and then we launch the service. And this is the ideal case how we want to do it. However, it's not always ideal when it comes to these big projects. What our challenges is funding, because right now in the public sector, funding is always something that's limited. There's never enough money. There's never enough time. This is something we still need to figure out. Then this development model, which I was talking about in the previous slide, is that this is the ideal case, but sometimes it could be so that we, in the problem definition phase, we realize that this is a problem for only 10% of the population, and maybe this shouldn't be developed furthermore. So we are still figuring out this type of model that will work with most of the projects, but would be flexible enough to kind of circle through. Then legal landscape. What we're doing right now is something that hasn't really been done before, and our laws aren't up to date. with what we want to do. That's why we have our legal team who is supporting us. Then agile procurement. There are very strict rules how we can procure these types of projects. But if we are, if we have a type of thing we want to get from our partners, but it changes in the process, then the current procurement situation doesn't really allow us to change it. Then community of practice, which is consisting of those people who are actually hands-on working with these proactive and life event services. We want to create this type of space for them where they can share their successes and failures and learn from each other's mistakes and successes. And then, of course, skills and knowledge management. So as you saw, our core team is rather small. Most of the work is done in cooperation with different partners, but we are struggling with how to keep the skills and knowledge which we have gained from our partners and with our partners in-house, so that every other service we launch would be better than the previous one, and we would have learned from our mistakes but also successes. But what are our possibilities? As we see it, they are endless. So as I was talking about proactive services, when we see an opportunity, we are very excited about it, and our main mission is to make life easier for people of Estonia by providing them proactive services, so they wouldn't have to look up the state if they need something, but the state would already offer it to them, and they wouldn't have to spend time on the bureaucracy of things, but they could just click a few buttons and that would be it. And they could focus on things that actually are important to them, because probably government services aren't that important. And this is it from my side, actually. So thank you for inviting me here. And if you have any questions, then now is the time for it. And you can, if you have any questions you want to ask me personally or privately, then you can also find me on LinkedIn or just send me an email, and I will be happy to answer that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiin. We do have one question in the chat.
Yep. Let me see. Are proactive services determined on specific priorities or standards? Yes. So how we decide on which services we are planning on launching are twofold. First of all, how many potential end users are there? So as I was saying, if it's only 5 or 10%, it's not our first priority. And the second thing is that, do we have a committed product owner? Because proactive services are launched by the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communication. These are launched in cooperation with ministries or agencies who are already providing these services, but maybe not in a proactive way. So even if we have the funds and the skills and the knowledge, if we don't have the interest from the other sides, we usually don't launch them until they show that they have the resources to not only analyze and plan it in cooperation with us, but also after it has been launched, they also have the resources to keep developing the services. I think this last question is more of a legal type and not that much regarding proactive services. So yeah.
Okay, so
excuse me, can I ask a question?
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah, do you adopt an end-to-end project management solution?
Sorry, could you repeat it?
Yeah, do you adopt an end-to-end project management solution? Or what do you adopt?
What do you mean by end-to-end?
I mean, it's a technical issue. I don't know if you are system analysis more than technical.
No, for technical solutions, we have the Information System Authority and also our partners, system architects and analysts who make sure that everything we are launching is secure and in accordance with the current law and privacy requirements and security requirements.
Okay, thank you.
But we will be sharing Triin's contacts as well later, and all the contacts of the speakers, so you can send the follow-up questions, and if Triin cannot answer, then she will find the right person in the ministry who would answer. Maybe we can take 1-2 more questions. I see one is in Arabic, and then there is one in English as well about benchmarking. So do you benchmark your services against someone? Or...
We don't really, we don't have this process set yet, because our team, although live event services our philosophy goes way back, our team is quite new. We have been working together in this type of goal for about a year. We do have a few partners who we are talking about their processes, but this we're working based on our roadmap, which was developed together with different agencies and ministries, yeah, it's kind of fresh and new, and we are trying to keep this in involvement. So benchmarking is something I feel we can do once we have launched a service that is live for the citizens as well. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but this is as much as I can say about our current process.
In Arabic, there is a question about whether a country in the Gulf has adopted any proactive or digital solution from Estonia, or you are dealing now with any GCC country in terms of proactive services?
Not to my knowledge, we haven't. Who we are working with or have been in contact with is Finland, because we have the X-Road connection with them. We have been in contact with Australia, New Zealand, then we have a few contacts, I believe, in Denmark. But well, to be honest, we have our hands full. So we're trying to, when we were talking about this community of practice, this is also something that we wish to achieve, is that not only the practitioners of Estonia, but also around the world who could share their knowledge with us.
Okay. There is also another question about the possibility of applying the services, the proactive services, in a joint manner between the Republic of Estonia and the United Arab Emirates, in coordination with the needs of both customers in both countries.
I guess it all comes down to technology, because like in principle we have nothing against it, and we have been trying to cooperate regarding proactive services with Finland, because they are our close neighbor and we already have this X-Road connection with them. However, the initiative from their side has been rather low, but if we see an opportunity and a reason and the willingness to commit to this, I don't see why this couldn't be done.
Yes, and I would also like to add that we have the next speaker, Artur from Nortal, and actually Nortal is an Estonian company that has been implementing the Estonian digital experience in the Gulf region. So Artur can soon tell more about what the Estonian experience can be implemented, and also maybe about the proactive services. But before Artur, maybe do we have one more question? Can we take just one more question?
Yes, it's about how do you verify the papers submitted for entry permits? because since it's all online and automated, so how do you verify these papers?
This isn't really this proactive service. This is in the domain of this border and police board, which I had in one of the slides, but I'm sure they have their type of processes that they check this security, and I'm not the best person to comment on this.
Just to clarify it in a different way. Do you have like those kind of integration between the government entities that you will get the information that we have it on those applications or documents that we need, such as we can say marriage certificates, birth certificates? So do you verify the type of the documents during or through the system, or you have like a smart way to do it, such as a smart scanner, we call them, or device to know that it's a fake or original document? So do we have, just to make it clear, do we have an integration between the government entities to do that?
Yeah, sorry, that was my bad. I didn't understand the question. We have this digital signature, which is connected with your personal ID card, and all the people who have the ID card for official documents when it comes to, for example, getting married or wanting new passports or whatever legal document it is that you are submitting to a ministry or agency, you have to digitally sign it, and it is connected to your personal ID cards. It has credential. It has well, it's a very secure solution we have been using for some time now. I think Annette mentioned it. So this is the process that we have right now. But when it comes to proactive services, if we do not have this process that we could ensure the credibility and verify these, then of course we are not just gonna like hope for the best, but in this case we still require people to physically go somewhere to ensure that these are the people who want to get this service. But yes, this digitally signed papers is the usual process. But I understand that this was the last question. Thank you from my side again. And if you have any questions, I think I will share my contacts.
Thank you, Trine. Yes, I will share your contacts later. But now let's move on to Artur from Nortal, and I will let Artur do the introduction and tell about the company.
Yeah, thank you so much. While I'm looking for ways to share my screen, I would also like to get back to the previous question, because I think it's also the great question from the Major Salem about the integration. And in Estonia, what we have is one of the kind of key infrastructure element of the Estonian e-government is the X-Road interoperability platform called X-Road, which actually allows this secure data exchange among market participants, including the different government authorities and actually the private sector companies as well. That actually simplifies, this interaction and consumption of the services, because lots of information which already exists in the government, it's actually used from there. So me as a citizen, as a consumer of the service, I actually don't need to provide this information if it's already exists within the government, if already the government knows this information. Now, talking about Nortal. My name is Artur Asser. I'm a head of products and services for Nortal GCC. I actually live and work in Dubai, although now I'm back in Estonia for a short vacation just to cool down a little bit from Dubai summer. And that also explains a bit of a casual look from my side. I'm at my summer cottage, and I'm sorry, I just don't have a tie and a suit here. So that's the reason. Now, talking about Nortal. So Nortal is the multinational strategic change and technology company that originated from Estonia, but actually by now we are well spread across the globe. Like one of the key, I would say, value proposition of Nortal to the governments and the private sector companies across the globe is actually we have this very unique experience of transforming Estonia into digital society this leader of digital society that Estonia is known for today. And basically, this is our, we can say like the main export article. Basically, this is the knowledge, this is the experience, to some extent it is the solutions mindset that we actually take from Estonia and we export globally. And I think another key element to note here is that just taking Estonian solutions from Estonia and putting it, I don't know, in the UAE or Oman or what else, it doesn't work. So what we take is that we take the solution, we take the experience, we take the mindset, but we also have enough of the market and the cultural understanding that we're able to put it into local context and figure out how to make it work locally in the specific country, considering the culture, considering the socioeconomic parameters, and so on and so on. And this is really a unique experience and unique capability that actually Nortal brings. And how Nortal also, how we formulate our vision or the mission, company mission, is that we are building seamless society. So we're building societies where things function from the perspective of the citizen, resident, or the business owner. So when I don't waste my time, my efforts on the bureaucracy, but things just function for me, regardless of all this complexity which actually lies behind those services that I'm consuming. Now, a few words about the history of the company. So the mother company, the parent company, Nortal, was established in the year 2000 in Estonia. And from that moment, we started actively growing and expanding to the other markets. For example, GCC market we entered in 2009. Back in the day, we entered Qatar. In 2010, we entered Oman. In Oman, we stayed ever since. In Oman, we have a number of impactful transformations, reforms conducted for the government of Oman. Then in 2018, we also entered UAE, Germany, USA, and from 2020, we also operating in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now, just maybe like one glance view of the company, so geographies and different customers. So from the UAE, what we would like to point out is that our customer base, we have done services and projects for the TRA, for Dubai economy, for Daman health insurance. Through our partners, we have also provided solutions and the projects for the Smart Dubai and Ministry of Interior. For example, our customers in the USA are big Fortune 500 companies like T-Mobile, like Amazon, like Motorola, Google, and so on. Now, another unique aspect or characteristic of the Nortal, I would say, is that our ability to conduct this end-to-end transformation. So basically conduct full reforms. So starting with the strategy, starting with the vision, with the business processes re-engineering, consulting the management, then basically going to a technology level, implementing the technology solution to support all these new business processes and the reforms on the government side, and then also going to the basically support of the technology and the delivery of the system. So this is also a unique capability because usually market don't work this way. So usually you first of all have your McKinseys that come in with the management consultancy and the strategy definition. Then you have Big Four that takes this vision and the strategy, transform it into the RFP for the technical solution. Then you have your typical software vendors that take this RFP and transform it into in the IT solution. But the issue with this process is that the loss of accountability. So basically you have so many parties within this process that with every handover, there is the knowledge that's being lost, there is accountability which is being lost. And in the end, you might have a beautiful IT solution, but it doesn't solve your initial business problem. So basically, this is something that Nortal is able to handle, although within specific domains. Of course, we're not such a huge company that we can provide that sort of a service in all domains, but specifically in the government, this is our strength. This is what we can do. Now, a few words about the impact of Nortal as a company and the footprint of Nortal as a company. So starting, of course, in Estonia, because this is our roots in Estonia. And as Annette described, the statistics about Estonia, that 99% of the services are online, the tax declarations. Actually, this year, 98% of the tax declarations has been filled online, digital voting. So this is the description of Estonia, and the Nortal part and Nortal footprint in this story is around 40% of the success story has been actually built by Nortal. Starting with this large infrastructural solutions like digital identity, Nortal played a major part in the implementation of 3 different iterations of digital identity, and implementing lots of different e-services for the lots of different government authorities. So that's Nortal. That's the experience that we have, and that's the experience that we bring to the world. Now, moving here in the region, in the GCC, so another example would be Oman, where, and again, that's a good example of how we took the mindset from Estonia. We took ideas from Estonia, but we took it few steps forward in Oman. So basically in Oman, as a result of the solution that we have implemented and the business consultancy we have implemented, like simplification of the business processes related to the business registration, business activity licensing. So the simplest type of a company in Oman can be registered just 2 minutes. So basically from the moment where this new entrepreneur opens the portal, fills in the application with the automatic processing in the backend, he gets his company registration number in just 2 minutes from this moment. And another thing that we have recently implemented, also integration of the business registration processes with the tax authority. So now it's a streamlined process for the entrepreneur. Once he registers the company, he's being automatically registered also in the tax authority, and he gets his tax registration number. So it's not 2 processes, it's a joint process that happens simultaneously. Another example of Nortal's value on the national level is taxation authority in Oman. We have been cooperating with authority from year 2013. So basically today, all taxes in Oman are being collected through a system that Nortal has delivered. Again, with the healthy portion of the business processing and engineering, simplification of the processes, simplification of the rules within the tax authority. And just an example of the impact, and this is just a snippet from the article from the Oman Observer, is that back in 2019, so the tax revenue collection jumped almost 35% in Oman, just through introduction of efficient IT system, streamlined business processes, online channels, tax intelligence solutions. 35% jump of the tax revenue collection for the income tax. Now, moving on, I guess that's the latest example from Oman. And some of you might know that year 2020 was supposed to be a year for the population and the household census globally across the world. Of course, during the pandemic, during the lockdowns and the traditional ways of conducting census didn't work. It was not possible to send enumerators into the field, interacting directly with the people, questioning people. That just didn't happen. So many of the countries actually failed to conduct the census back in 2020, but Oman didn't. And the reason behind it is that we built a system that actually reuses data already existing in the Omani government. So we pulled data from somewhere around 30 different data sources within the different authorities, different ministries, also from utility companies. We aggregate this data, we crunch this data, we improve quality of this data, we cross-check, cross-reference the data from different sources, and we build statistics based on that. And then the picture there, it's His Majesty the Sultan basically signing the results of the census back in September 2020 as basically the grand result of this work, grand result of this solution. And of course, in addition, just the possibility to conduct census in the situation of pandemic, it's also it's a great cost reduction, the increase of efficiency in the census conduction, because you don't need those physical enumerators. And also, once they have the system, they can actually do the census every month if they would like to, because the data is being automatically pulled from the sources, crunched, and statistics have been populated from this data. Maybe like latest example here from UAE of Nortal footprint in UAE is the UAE TICA program, or the e-services for the UAE TICA program, which is the health insurance program provided by the government of Abu Dhabi to the UAE nationals. So all e-services, all customer-facing services, omni-channel solutions, portal, mobile application, delivered by us with a huge emphasis on the service design, on the customer experience, with the numerous user testings and the user studies and different sessions resulting with the solution. Now moving, I will not stop on the awards. Now moving specifically for the more closer to the topic of today's discussion, so proactive services, or the maybe just more generally speaking, new generation services, governmental services. So, and I think it's important also, like for me, how these services are different from the typical services that you have. I think like this important paradigm shift is that it's a process of designing the service, focusing on the consumer of the service and not focusing on the authority and the functions of the authority that actually provides the service. So it's a whole different way of looking at things, and it's basically it's very customer focused, and like the objective is hiding this complexity from the consumer of the service, because if it's a service that I don't consume regularly, I don't know how it works, and there might be enormous complexity behind it, but why I as the consumer should know about it. And that's I think like very important change in the service design perspective. And this specific example, so this is basically the Nortel's role in Estonia, also in developing the proactive services. So this is, as Triin also described, like one of those live event services. So the first phase for the service related to the birth of the child and the relevant benefits that that parents are entitled to with the relation of the birth of the child. So now when child is born, the childbirth is registered automatically at the hospital, and basically the parents don't need to apply for the benefits that comes with the birth of the child. So the benefits proactively will be calculated in the background, taken into account the variety of parameters related to the parents, and provide basically send on the email the package, like benefits package, that the parents would just have to accept. And again, from the perspective of the consumer, this is quite simple. I go to the hospital, a baby is born, and my benefits are coming to me directly. Now, the complexity in the background is actually quite staggering. So basically, it's there are so many parts that integrate it. It's healthcare providers, the hospitals. It's a health insurance fund, it's tax authority, it's social insurance fund, it's unemployment insurance fund, it's population register, it's Ministry of Education. So there are a variety of different stakeholders in the service that actually have to come together to provide this service seamlessly and streamlined into the consumer. As also Triin mentioned, like it's of a crucial importance of who's taking the actual ownership of this service as a whole, because there are so many stakeholders which provide different elements and contribute different data to the service, but who takes the overall ownership? So that's a key aspect. Of course, from the technology perspective, like technology is simple, but all this organizational and the change management perspective of it is much more complicated and much more hard to implement. Another example of the proactive service is, and it's also proactive service and also application of the AI, which also Estonia is quite known for these days. This broad application of AI in the government. So this example comes from the unemployment insurance fund. So when the person goes and registers himself as the unemployed, so what happens in the background proactively on behalf of the unemployment insurance fund, that his data is taken as he submitted his application, his data is taken, and AI basically crunches through this data and tries to identify what's the likelihood of this person to become long-term unemployed. And long-term unemployed in Estonia is unemployment over 6 months period. Why we're doing this? Because once he becomes long-term unemployed, his risks and of staying unemployed for a long period are actually quite high. So basically, the longer he stays unemployed, the harder it gets back to the to get back to the employment market. So what's being done is proactively we try to identify the likelihood of the long-term unemployment, and if this likelihood is identified, then specific services are being provided to this person to help him, and again considering his educational background, his employment history, to help him get back to the employment market as soon as possible. And last example from my side is it comes from the taxation domain, where tax authority now in Estonia basically starts reflecting the data they have about the companies and about the economy back to the market. So what it means for me as a business owner, so basically I can see how tax authority views me. Like they shows me how they see my compliance. They show me if they identified some discrepancies in my information in the documents I submit, in the tax declarations I submit. Maybe I'm lacking something, and basically they're exposing this data back to me, so I can myself validate this compliancy, and I can proactively actually go and correct those without having the audit coming to my door. So basically, it's to visualize like how far I am from the tax authority audit coming and starting auditing me. So how can I prevent it proactively and preventively, fix those deficiencies, and basically stay compliant with the tax authority rules. And in addition to this, kind of this compliance issue, it also helps me understand and benchmark myself as the business owner with the general economy and the market in general. So basically, I can see how am I doing comparing to other companies within my business domain. And I guess that's it from my side. So if there is any question, I would be happy to take them.
Thank you, Artur. There is a question in the chat, if you can have a look.
Yeah, sure. Let me maybe remove my sharing. Question in the chat. What type of proactive services or innovative solutions we can collaborate with Nortel to implement at the General Directorate of Residence and Foreign Affairs Dubai, from your point of view as a partner in leading technology company? I think that calls for a bigger discussion. I think that calls maybe for a sort of a brainstorm session. And again, like from Estonian experience, like the example that I showed about the unemployment insurance fund, this is how we came up with this use case, with this solution. Basically, we sat down with the authority leadership, with the product owners from authority side, and we had the brainstorming session and a couple of workshops that basically resulted in this solution, sort of iterative approach of ideating together, having discussions together, and coming up with the solutions which are implementable. So I think I would not speculate right now, but I would be happy to actually engage and exchange ideas and see what we can come up with.
Any other questions? I will be sharing Artur's contacts as well later, so that you can engage in the follow-up discussion and see if you can change some ideas regarding the proactive services.
Thank you so much.
But thank you then, Artur, and I will now give the floor to Katrin from e-residency, the first such program in the world. And yes, please, Katrin.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. I'm working from home because I haven't had my second vaccine yet, so you can see my home office view. But I switched to sharing the screen. First of all, really happy to meet you, and was really interesting to also hear about the work Nortel has been doing with Oman. And as you know, in Dubai, as you have your own similar program to e-residency, you know all the challenges, and I think you know a lot about the program we have been we have been leading as well. So I'm just going to do a short overview and plus I add a little bit about the digital nomad visa, because the recent campaigns I have been leading in e-residency international communication. So our goal is to extend Estonian digital society, which is 99% digital now, extend it outside of our borders. And we have different projects that have the same main goal. You know that our public services are online. You can't get married, you can't divorce right now in Estonia, but apart from these two things, you can do everything. And we have heard that actually you can soon divorce online as well. We are...
Can I interrupt you for a second? Could you please put full screen for the slides? Because currently it's a little bit small to read. From the presenter view, maybe.
Just a moment. I will see how is this possible. Hold on. Actually, if you can guide me through, I don't know how to.
There is the display settings in the lower bar. And there is this presenting icon. Do you see next to the Zoom bar? All ribal on see Zoomi nagu, kus on 57% sul praegu. Täitsa all.
Ma üldse alumist riba ei näe endal. Okay.
Aga siis vaata view ülevalt menüüst äkki.
Üleval vasakul pool on see nagu väike play nupp, sa näed.
Punase riba peal?
Jah.
Üleval punase riba peal vasakul? Seal on nagu see tahvel jala peal ja seal on play nupp tahvli sees.
Ma ei näe seda kahjuks.
Just press F5.
Ma vaatan korra, kas ma saan.
F5 will work also.
F5, okay.
F5.
I tried.
But you have to click on the screen, that I mean the Microsoft PowerPoint. Yes, you can press F5 and it's
Microsofti see logoga nupp ja F5.
Jaa, ma vaatan. F5, okei. Kas nüüd on parem?
Ta ikkagi ei ole. Aga vaata, kas see punase ülevalt menüü punase riba pealt sul on vaata save nupp.
Mul ei ole punast riba, mul on okei. Kuule, ma saan nüüd aru, mis sa mõtled. Okei. Oota üks hetk, ma korra vaatan kiirelt. Üks hetk, view, okei. Üks hetk. Ja view. Sa mõtled praegu minu slaidide faili, on ju?
Jaa. Nii, kas nüüd on parem? Ikka ei ole. Aga äkki saad siis lihtsalt Zoomi suuremaks panna? Seal. Sorry, we're trying to...
I'm sorry, I didn't know that it worked last time, right? Yeah, it doesn't let me do anything fit to window. So I'm sorry. But is it really bad or can we continue?
No, we can continue. It's okay.
I think it's fine because you are reading what's inside. So
okay, let's continue then.
It's okay, can continue. We are fine.
Okay, I'm just going to share it again and just see how it goes. Is it? Can you see now everything or?
Yes, we can see, but yes, we can see.
Yeah. So basically, Estonia has all the public services online, and we also have the highest number of startups in Europe. So basically, we have like two important selling points. I'm going to introduce you to the third one to actually introduce the possibilities to do business in European Union economic area, which is what we provide with e-residency. E-residency was introduced at the end of 2014, and essentially it's not a new product. It is something that Estonian citizens are using all the time on daily basis. So we had a decent user experience, and we just made it possible for the non-residents. Startup visa was introduced in 2017, and digital nomad visa was introduced in August 2020. And what is common for all these programs is that they are focused on empowering the entrepreneurs in wide range of countries, and they are inclusive in this sense that we don't have any limitations regarding to where you come from or where you are based. So anybody can apply for any of the programs, and the only thing that is decided upon is the data that they give. Plus we have the security checks as well, but it's not, we don't have country limitations. So basically, this is the third reason is that we do actually have very good positioning in different international indexes, and this also indicates that it is easy, it is very hassle-free, paperless, it is simple to register a business in Estonia and overall to do business in Estonia. And for startup visa, we obviously also provide this so-called framework, the contacts, the network. As a small country, everything is really close. It's easy to communicate with different people, get some mentoring, so on and so forth. So what is e-residency? E-residency, as you know, is a state-issued strong digital identity, Estonian digital ID that we use for citizens. Essentially, it is the same for e-residents. The only difference is that e-residency digital ID card is not a travel document. It doesn't have a photo, but otherwise it works exactly the same. And what is important to know is that we have European Union personal data protection that is followed here. So your data is secure. Plus, our digital ID card has the strongest security level according to eIDAS, which is the European Union regulation in giving the security standards for all the digital ID documents. And this has been now applying or forced before e-residency came live. So it was September 2014 when it was enforced. So we can fairly say that the security standards are not actually measured globally, but they are measured in European Union. And by having the highest standard in the European Union, we can fairly say that it is a very secure digital ID. It is an online identification, and you can sign everything online. It's a strong and secure digital signature. You have access to all Estonian e-services. The most used obviously are business services, but e-residents can also use any other services. For example, a funny perhaps example recently is that e-resident with their digital ID could also register to get the COVID vaccine. Obviously, it's not useful when you are living abroad because you can't travel to Estonia, but I know quite a few e-residents who are currently based in Estonia. and who are most often European Union citizens, and they could, for example, get the vaccine. Other things, maybe a softer value, but very important, is that the early adopters are actually very digitally minded entrepreneurs that have this kind of global view. So we have a nice community of location-independent entrepreneurs who actually, because of the nature of their work, which is always happening whilst traveling, they do actually are very, they need socializing, they need advice. So they do actually talk to each other. They share some advice on different platforms. And it is a very active community. They have their own association as well. So it's kind of a new tribe of local independent entrepreneurs that e-residency has been fostering. That's quite a nice aspect for us. And today, nearly 7 years after we started, we have reached to the situation where we have every fifth company, new company that is registered in Estonia annually, is a company founded by an e-resident. And we hope that this number is going to grow, but we consider it an important milestone, and it takes some time for companies to start to actually pay taxes, because Estonian tax system is quite particular. You don't have to pay corporate tax. Corporate tax is zero from reinvested profits. So as long as you invest into your company, essentially, you don't have a need to pay corporate tax. So by supporting these just created companies and giving them good conditions to grow and grow faster, we are actually making sure that they do bring in maybe not an instant value for our economy, but they do bring in value long term, and it is also useful for the founders. So this is why one should become an e-resident of Estonia. I already mentioned that it's completely hassle-free. You don't need to travel anywhere. You can travel across the world, stay 2 weeks in every country, and you can still run your company seamlessly. We also have a marketplace, virtual marketplace with over 100 companies that provide different services. The services overall, compared to many in fact, most of the European Union countries, for example, Germany, UK, many others, the accounting services are quite reasonably priced. There is legal consultancy, business consultancy, insurance services, banking services. So this is kind of a security net. Come again? So this is kind of a security net that helps e-residents to grow their companies as well. This is how we are supporting their growth. Today, there are 81,000 e-residents across the world, and over 17,000 companies. Actually, I didn't update the numbers, but this is growing now faster than during the COVID period. Even though we can say that during COVID pandemics at the start of last year, we did see a strong increase in activity of e-resident companies. So these people who had created the company maybe a year before and hadn't actually actively administrated it, we could see that they became much more active with their company, whether it was because of their job situation changed, or they needed a business body that they could use for cross-border businesses being suffering because of the lockdowns. I don't know, but this was the tendency that we saw. Now, we launched a month ago 4 new e-residency pickup locations. As you know, we have one that is in United Arab Emirates, but we are thinking about also opening one in Abu Dhabi. These 4 were very, very important for us because we opened the first pickup point in South America. It's in Brazil now, and we are planning to open more. One in South Africa, which is basically the only one in southern part of Africa, and 2 more in Southeast Asia, in Bangkok and in Singapore. And we have 15 more pickup points to open across the world. Estonia is a small country. We don't have that many foreign missions, and e-residency identification document is only available, so far it has been only available in Estonian consulates and Estonian embassies. But right now we have visa centers who also deliver e-residency cards. So this is a short overview of how e-residency and digital nomad visa are different. In general, I would say that digital nomad visa that was just launched is something that allows you to come to Estonia physically. E-residency doesn't give this opportunity. You don't have a possibility to apply for visa, citizenship, or residency any easier than the people who don't have e-residency, but you can use all the services whilst being abroad. But for visa, for residency, you still need to apply separately for these. Digital nomad visa gives you the possibility to come to Estonia. Maximum period is 12 months, but you can also prolong it for another 12 months. It is also individual, like e-residency card. It doesn't apply for your whole family, one visa. But basically, this is launched to give either e-residents, company owners, any investors, any freelancers, or anybody who is just remotely working for a foreign company, and obviously can do it wherever they stay. They have this kind of working style. It gives them the possibility to come to Estonia and experience living in a digital society. It has been in preparation for 3 years, digital nomad visa, and it was actually the idea was given by e-residents from outside of EU who said, like, it would be nice actually to come to Estonia. And this is why we developed this, program. And overall, these two work together, because if you have a digital nomad visa, you come and you're based in Estonia, whether you work or do business here, and you have also e-residency, then you can basically live here during this time as a very close to the citizen, because you can use your e-residency card, get more benefits out of it. So it's a full digital society experience that one can have while not being a citizen. So this is a digital nomad visa kind of overview, like I already gave you. And these are the conditions. So right now, during the COVID pandemics, digital nomad visa type of programs have popped up in all across the world. But maybe the difference between Estonia and, for example, the ones in Barbados, in Costa Rica, in other countries, is that ours is more inclusive. As long as you work remotely, you can apply. But there is also a relevant monthly income threshold that you need to consider. This wasn't specially made for digital nomad visa. This is the general income threshold for all the people coming from outside of Europe who apply for residency permit for a longer period here, D visa, I think it is. And yeah, and it's easy to do. You need to file it only physically, and then you can also pick it up physically. And then you can't, for example, keep your digital nomad visa for half a year and move here after half a year, 6 months. You need to use it right away. So that's a different one. For e-residency, you can apply online, get your answer online, and only give your biometrics when you pick up your card. So overall, this is it. These are our happy residents. Among the others, there are quite a few VIPs like Angela Merkel, like the Pope. But other people here on the photos are, you know, from various countries, from UK, from Indonesia, from many different countries. That's it from me. These are my contact details. So if you have any further questions or anything that I could help you with, please get in touch.
Thank you, Katrin. There is one question in the chat, and it's the most popular question always is, how much has the digital nomad visa and the e-residency positively affected the Estonian economy?
digital nomad visa wasn't actually created for that. So we haven't measured it, and because it was also launched during the COVID period when it was actually impossible to get to European Union from outside. And it has been mostly interesting for US citizens and Canadian citizens. So we can't really talk about this being at the peak of its time, but it's a long-term project, so it's probably going to be more popular and also more taken advantage of once we exit these massive travel restrictions. But regarding to e-residency, we calculated our direct economic benefits for Estonian economy as 54 million right now, which is not also the only reason why we do it. And it's also not taking in account all the benefits that Estonia gets from e-residency. Because when we are talking about e-residency companies, then the cumulative turnover is getting close to 4 billion right now, 4 billion euros. So that means that they are working and working well. And regarding to the benefits for Estonian economy, there is also, it provides the customer base and is driving the innovation of digital services among Estonian companies. As I mentioned, there are over 100 companies in our virtual marketplace. Many of them are new. Many of them provide the services that weren't existent 7 years ago. So basically all the virtual office, many banking solutions, many tax advising companies, you know, they have been all starting in the back of e-residency program and finding e-residents as an client base for them to develop their products on. So this is one of the indirect values. Obviously, there are indirect values in tourism, e-residency as Estonian business card. In this sense, we have a massive PR value that is calculated right now. The recent campaign, which lasted 2 months, the expansion campaign, sorry, brought us in the advertising equivalent value about 25 million within 2 months. So this all needs to be taken into account as well. And this is a small economy and serving as a gateway to European market at the moment. This program really helps us to make our economic landscape more varied, more vibrant, more innovative overall. It helps to foster the collaborations and partnerships between Estonian and foreign companies, between Estonian and e-resident companies. So we are still working out the model that we could use exactly to track the benefits overall.
Thank you. We have one more very interesting speaker, but quickly let's take this question that what is next for the nomad visa or future plans? Can you quickly give a reply? What are in general, maybe some future plans?
The nomad visa, there are a few little things in terms of the legal framework to figure out how to make it easier for international companies to register in our system, or if they need to do it in order for their employees be working from Estonia, because there is a slight tax question that raises after 6 months. But we are really working on it, and it's I think basically the whole pandemic period has accelerated a massive kind of a digital like turn to digital tools, and many governments are discussing at the moment about and already developing their e-residency programs. Many have already launched their digital nomad visa programs. The overall working culture has become rapidly much more remote. So employees as well as entrepreneurs, they expect these kind of programs actually from different countries. So I think by digital nomad visa launch, we are actually also driving the innovation like worldwide, and we are also showing what works, what doesn't work, and learning ourselves. So that's the most important. But I think once the pandemic is over and people can move more freely, we can see the bigger bump in applications, and see also the feedback. What needs to be figured out. It's a constant work, in terms of development.
Thank you, Katrin.
Thank you. Did you take my screen off, right?
Yes, and I will be sharing your contacts with the delegation as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for bearing with me.
Thank you, Katrin. It was very interesting. Last but not least is Leonardo from International House of Estonia, and he will be sharing how Estonia helps the foreign employees and also their families. Please, Leonardo.
Okay, so let's see. Can you see the screen?
Yes, and it's full screen,
yes.
So all good.
Okay, perfect. So I'll try to keep it short because I know that we are a bit over schedule. So hello everyone, my name is Leonardo Ortega, and I'm at the moment the community manager at the Work in Estonia program, which is part of the same investment agency that we have here in Estonia. But I'll soon be taking over one of our very cool projects, which is called the International House of Estonia. So I will just give you a brief introduction. And basically, just to explain a bit what we do here at Work in Estonia, give you a bit of background, is that over the past few years, 6-7 years mostly, we have seen an incremental amount of startups. We have 5 unicorns also. And we have been coming, as Katrin also mentioned, with different ways of attracting more people that are related to the scene of startups, and that has created a big push for ICT environment here in Estonia, which means that more and more companies are needing like international workforce, and that's why already like 5 years ago we created the Work in Estonia program. And basically, one of our main goals is to work and help for the Estonian companies, for the ones that are based in Estonia, to find and to keep people that have exceptional skills that they need from all over the world. And we basically focus on 4 different areas. So the first one is the attraction. So we try to attract the attention of the people that we need to come to Estonia, to realize that Estonia is a place where they can come and they can develop their career, and they can help us build this very cool environment we have in terms of startups, in terms of digital society. And then the second point is reception. So once they decide to come, that when they arrive, the actual expectations are in line with the reality. And that's where I'm going to be focusing a bit more today, because that's where most of the International House of Estonia part is. And then the third one is adaptation and rotation. So once that they are here, they have managed to settle in, then we help them to basically make their life in Estonia as easy as possible, so they can focus on actually, doing the job that they were hired for, and everything else would be as easy as possible. And then reputation basically is if we manage, to do all these 3 stages well, and people are happy of coming and working in Estonia, then they will invite more people to come and work in Estonia. More companies will come to settle in. And in that, in turn, will actually help us attract more people to Estonia. So this is the way we do it for the internationals. First, we have our website, which is workinestonia.com. You can later visit it, where we have all of the English job offers in one single place. So we have created a database that contains the different, let's say, private sector databases that are in English for job openings in Estonia, and we have taken them into one single website, which is this Work in Estonia. That it's a state-based website. And then we have, once they arrive to Estonia, we help them into doing all these different bureaucratic, let's say, documentation, any questions that they might have. And also throughout their stay in Estonia, we help them to adapt so they can, have everything easier. Basically what we do in terms of attraction is we do marketing and communication campaigns together with the startups, together with the companies, in order for attracting more international people to come here. We participate, before the pandemic on different tech conferences, and we use our main channels are like the website, workinestonia.com website, social media such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and also newsletter for those that are interested in coming to work in Estonia. So we do a lot of cooperation with the previous programs. For example, if there is any news that it's interesting for the people then of e-residency, then we also put it in this newsletter, because we all try to stay like connected and make one single place. So this is what I mentioned before about the channels, but this is what I believe it's more interesting for you. So once people arrive to Estonia, we heard before when we only did marketing, is that once they arrive to Estonia, it's a bit difficult to understand, what is happening, what are the processes that they have to go, how do they register as a permanent resident here in Estonia, if they have kids, where do they put them in school, and so on and so forth. So what we came up here at the Work in Estonia program is to create a one-stop shop service, which would provide like all sorts of essential information and consultations to the public, the companies that are hiring, but also to the internationals that are coming here to Estonia, for them to actually make the transition to their new life here in Estonia a bit more easy or a bit more simple. And so before the pandemic, we did most of the consultations physically on the International House of Estonia, which is one tram stop away from the airport, for example, 2 tram stops or 3 away from the biggest bus station that we have here. So it's very simple to find it. And then that's where we did the kind of consultations. So what are the consultations, or what sort of information do we offer? We have information on housing, like how to rent a place, how would be able to find a place to stay while they are here. Also, we have migration consultations, and we have on about the family doctors, where to get the family doctors, how to make a professional network, and so on. And these consultations, we don't make them ourselves. We actually have a cooperation agreements with the different other state organizations. So they, the experts, can actually do their consultations in one single place. So the person doesn't have to be running from one office to another. He can get the migration consultation at the International House, later on with the Integration Association about how to learn Estonian language. Then perhaps they need to register in Tallinn City and how to understand how public transportation works. So they have someone at the Tallinn City government as well here at the International House. So and also, well, if they have any other questions, then our teammates are also there to explain them. Every question that is related to their new life here in Estonia. So that's basically what the International House offers. Here I just put it a bit for the employer and the employee. But also worth mentioning is that after the difficult situation of how COVID started, then we had to a bit play with the situation and how to do it. All the stuff we did physically, and how do we do it digitally. And what we came up about is actually most of the services that we could offer in the house were actually also available to be offered via Skype. So most of our consultations moved through Skype or through different online services. And we also implemented a little chatbot in our website, which would welcome the people that are interested in coming and working in Estonia or have any questions. And then they would actually interact with this chatbot in order to get the answers to their situations. And one other thing that we actually do is group events. And because if there is like some questions about, I don't know, how do I fill my tax form declaration? And everybody wants to know about this. So instead of giving individual consultations, we actually did group consultations or seminars. But now we moved it on to webinars. And then we do it also in the most, in the different topics that actually most people have questions with. So whenever we understand that there is a lot of people asking about a single question, then we try to respond to that, either with adding information into our website or actually getting more information to more people via this group counselings or webinars. So that's how we manage to do it. There we also have a relocation guide, which is available in paper, but also you can get it on the website in a PDF form. And the state also offers what is called Settle in Estonia, which is a program of different sessions, which would allow you to get a broad overview about what is Estonia, what is the culture of Estonia, and also how does education work, how does working in Estonia, legally, what are your rights, what are the different ways of living here in Estonia. So everything related to Estonia, you can also get into this Settle in Estonia website, which is run by the Ministry of Interior, and they also offer courses including Estonian language learning. So just to give you a brief overview about the main arguments, or let's say selling points that we give to the internationals, these are the things that we didn't thought about this, but actually this is what people tell us why they are coming to work in Estonia. Mainly they like that it's a digital society, which means everything they can do online. They have more time, to spend with their family or to focus at work, and they don't have to go running about to different offices. So the second one is that it's a career boost, meaning that in Estonia, because it's more compact, then people are more quicker into moving from different works, from one job to another, or just in the hierarchy going up, because the competition is just not as strong as in any other companies. In other countries. There's also great life and work balance, clean environment, and also very stable and safe country. So that is roughly and very quickly an introduction about what we do here. But if I manage, I'm going to share with you my screen with of the International House, so you website, so you can see. Can you see the website now, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I don't see it myself. Yeah, now I can see it. So basically, you have here in front the Work in Estonia website. So the chat box that I was talking about, it's here. And basically with this chat box, you can get a bit more information about working, doing business, and everyday life in Estonia. So because during the pandemic, the amount of people, of consultations grew up exponentially via email, then we don't have the resources to actually have people responding to them, all of it. So we create an automated robot that actually can help us filter these different questions, different information that people might need to get. One other cool thing that we have at the website is a kind of a very quick overview of what do you need to do if you are coming to Estonia. For example, if I'm coming from outside, I want to stay more than a year, and I'm going to Estonia, let's say alone, which is usually the kind of profile that we have. Then we have created these 10 steps where you can get information. So again, it's we try to do this coming to Estonia as more simple and for the people that are coming here. And the International House, different consultations, you can also find them on the website. And depending if you are a foreigner or you are an employer, then you can choose. And through this website, you can book, for example, the Skype consultations with the police and border guard. You can see which are the times available over here. And and get the services, at your earliest convenience. So I think from my side, like on the presentation side, would be quick, but perhaps you have any questions. I did it quick, but so we can have more dialogue and anything that you need to know.
Thank you, Leonardo. There are some questions in the chat. So one of them I can read because it's in English, and it's from your point of view, can there be an international house of Dubai? The number of population is 3 million in Dubai. So what's your point of view for Dubai?
Yes, I think the answer is it's a very strong yes. We have visited different international houses around the world, mostly in Europe, where population goes from 2, 3, 4 million cities. So the idea is actually just to see what kind of services do the people or the internationals would need most, and how can you integrate these services. For us, even being a small country, it was quite a challenge, I can say, to integrate the services because we have over 6 different state organizations, and to come and offer their services in one single place. So actually, to get the agreement on and get one service level standard for everyone, that's the difficult part. Once you have this, if you manage to also depending on the budget, how many people would be attending to the international house, and so on and so forth. Then the rest of it's just purely like arranging the logistics. But mostly it's like, do you see a need of it, and what would be the services to offer there? Like, why would people come to this international house? And so for us, this is how we started with the international house.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question. How did you integrate your services? Did you use Nortel company, or was it 100% internal government sourcing when it comes to the implementation of the integration of services between government entities?
Actually, at the moment, let's say the house is relatively new, 2018, at the end of 2018, we started. And at the beginning, we have been using a very simple, let's say, booking system, because most of the, each of the government agencies use their own services. So only what we need to do is the fact that people can see the appointments of who they are attending with. So basically like a customer database. So that's what we have been using, and so far there hasn't been a need to integrate much more, because also for example, the police and border guard has way more stricter standards than the Thailand city government, and it would be like a very big challenge to integrate it, but we haven't seen the need to do that on a higher scale. So at the moment, with a simple let's say booking system has been enough. And in the future, and at the moment, actually, I can say that we are trying to improve this booking system. So we might need a more thorough solution, but at the moment, we haven't used this. We haven't done much more integration in that sense.
Thank you. Regarding the question in Arabic, I don't know who is the concerned department. But the question is, what are the innovative and solutions and services, proactive solutions and services that you have, which enables you to collect customers' data and determine their behaviors when they come through your airports? So do you have like a mechanism when people come to Estonia through airports that enables you to collect data and determine their behaviors as a customer?
No, at least from the international House of Estonia point of view, we don't. The way we at the moment manage the information from the customers is basically once they come, if I would go forward here on picking up a date, then we would ask for some information on the website about the name. So this information that they give actually like voluntarily is what we would base you know, like the customer flow, where are they coming from, what they need, and so on and so forth. And so, yeah, at the moment, this is the thing that we have, but we don't have anything connected straight either to the border, to the police, or something that will tell us what the person would come and do in the international house.
So thank you, Leonardo. I will be sharing your contacts as well if there will be follow-up questions afterwards.
Okay.
So that is it from our program. If there are any last questions, we can take them. If not, then we can have the questions in the follow-ups. But I would really like to thank you for your time. We went a little bit over schedule, but I hope the presentations were useful and you got some insights to think about when you plan your next steps. So I thank you for your time from the briefing center side and also from the Estonian presenter side.
Hello everyone.
Okay.
Hello everyone. My name is Ahmed Ali, head of process design in GDRFA Dubai. First of all, I would like to really thank you all, like all the speakers, for the very informative presentations. And to be honest, for me, it's like a long time coming. Like I've always wanted to have this opportunity just to have some insight about the Estonian government, because all what we've been heard, it's just the good things. So it was really good opportunity for me personally to be here. And I just have like very general question, and anyone can take it, in terms of the digital solution adoption. Like I think it's very possible to go online for the services, but the thing is, how can we, let's say, I don't want to push, but let's say, how can we encourage the customer to use or to adopt all of these services, especially when there's a certain kind of people, they actually just like to use the traditional ways, which is, you know, just go to the, I mean, they like the human factor to get their services, which is, I think they're right in a way, but how can you like synchronize, let's say, between these two things, like considering the human factor and also the e-services? How do you like synchronize these two things, and how you encourage your customer to adopt the digital solutions that's been provided by you?
Thank you.
I hope my question is very clear.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So I will let Artur also comment later, because they have experience from different markets doing this. But the short answer is actually it's good user design and incentives. So basically, if a service has been, let's say, designed so everything is pre-filled for a customer and they only have to push one button for accept, then this means that this process is much more convenient than filling out an application themselves. So the user design part is very important. And the second thing is incentive. We have many services online that save the customer time or money compared to if they would do it in an office. So for example, the tax declaration, which was one of the first services that was brought online in Estonia. So the people who can get tax reductions and can get their money back, if they file for a tax declaration online, then they will receive their money back much faster than they would receive the money back when they would file the tax declaration in an office. So you can see that there is also an incentive for a person to use service. And it's the same for many services where actually the service online can cost you less than using the same service in an office. So basically, a very good user design and some incentives as well for people to come online. But Artur, please, you can comment more.
Yeah, just maybe a few additional ideas and the points. And I think what Alan described is the great example, specifically tax authorities' approach, basically giving this direct incentive and incentivizing people using online service. And definitely the fact that you can do things faster, more efficiently, again, not inputting the data yourself because the data is being populated from the background from other systems, that all helps. But still, even though it's more convenient, much easier, you will still have some population that just prefers the old way, right? And I think that just takes time. So basically, when you have great services, demand will come and demand will grow just because of the habits gradually will change. So can you provide incentives, and more people just start shifting to using online services, first of all because of the incentives, then because it's more convenient, and then that's just because it's the trend. Kind of, the remaining of the population will follow the trend, although you probably will still have the small amount of population, maybe elderly, for whom it's more complicated, and I guess that will not go away. Like you will need to support some, in some small efforts also the elderly population that consumes the services. But that will also, just with the time, it will gradually change, because we all, mature, grow older, but we all already grow older with the skill set that we now have for obtaining. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I don't know if we have time for a final question.
We can take one.
The last question is about the success rate of the e-residency.
I think Katrin has left, but could you maybe clarify the question? So success rate of applications, do you mean?
No, it's about the service success rate, and if there is there is a plan that has been accredited by your side for the e-residency from now till the future.
Yeah, I think that the initial plan was actually, Estonia has 1.3 million people. So the initial plan was to get 10 million e-residents. So to grow the country tenfold, let's say. But they have actually changed the strategy now. So the goal is not to get 10 million e-residents in the time period, but the goal now is to get more quality e-residents, so that the e-residents would establish more companies. The companies would have bigger revenues, would offer even jobs in Estonia. So they have changed actually the strategy from the quantity over to the quality now. So it's not about residency numbers anymore, but it's more about getting the companies to be more bigger and more quality and more smart. So that's the new goal.
Thank you. We can close now.
Thank you. So would you like to have some final words?
On behalf of the General Directorate of Residency and Foreigners Affairs Dubai, we would like to express our gratitude to all the speakers for their participation in the GDRFA Dubai Best Practices for Digital and Proactive Services Forum in cooperation with the Republic of Estonia. I sincerely thank you, and the teamwork that I have seen just makes me believe what I have heard and read in the news about how you came together today from various government and technology entities, which has enabled us to have this fruitful event. And before ending my this event, I would like to convey a special thanks to Mr. Alan, the Business Development Manager from Estonia Briefing Center, and Ms. Annette Noma, the Digital Transformation Advisor from Estonia Briefing Center, for hosting this event in a very fast and quick period of time. You are very professional. And finally, thank you for everyone who attended the forum today, and I hope that you have all a good day.
Thank you so much. Thank you also for organizing the delegation here. There are so many participants and we're very happy about that. And also thank you, Major, for taking part and for your introduction and the questions as well. It was really, really interesting to get the discussion going. I will share a follow-up email with you where you will have all the contacts of the speakers, so you can contact me or you can contact directly the companies and the organizations, Nortal, International House of Estonia, e-residency and the ministry. If you have any follow-up questions, if you would like to maybe organize follow-up discussion on a specific topic, so please feel free to contact the speakers directly.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Major Salim, if you have any last words.
Just I want to thank everyone. Thank you for the valuable information, a lot of information. We really need that to know exactly. We heard a lot about Estonia. And today we discovered that great job being done past years. And this will give us more challenges to follow you in the e-services. And I hope we're gonna do it in a couple of, I can say years. But we are working and our government forcing us to follow you people as our leaders, and I can call it in e-services. Thank you very much, everyone, and I hope we're going to meet again in Dubai next time, inshallah.